There's a battle happening right now in your life that no one else can see. It's not fought with weapons or words, but with choices made in silence, decisions executed without announcement, and eliminations performed without ceremony. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our age of constant sharing and public declaration. The most powerful transformations happen in private, away from the watching eyes and wagging tongues of the world. Marcus Aurelius never announced his philosophical practices to the Senate. Epictetus didn't broadcast his journey from slavery to wisdom. Seneca didn't seek applause for his disciplines. They understood that real change is contaminated by announcement, weakened by external validation, and often sabotaged by premature disclosure. When you tell the world what you're eliminating from your life, you invite resistance, judgment, and interference that can derail your progress before it even begins. What I'm about to share with you are 10 toxic elements that are slowly poisoning your potential, draining your energy, and keeping you trapped in mediocrity. But here's the crucial part: you must eliminate them quietly, without fanfare, without seeking permission, without announcing your intentions. Why? Because the moment you declare your plans, you activate forces both within yourself and in others that will work against your transformation. Think about every time you've announced a diet, a new workout routine, or a life change on social media. How did that work out? The likes and encouragement felt good for a moment, but they also created pressure, expectation, and a strange sense that you'd already accomplished something just by announcing it. Your brain, receiving the dopamine hit from the social validation, felt satisfied and reduced your actual motivation to follow through. This is why the Stoics practiced in private and let their results speak for themselves. 1. The addiction to other people's opinions. The first thing you must quietly eliminate is your addiction to other people's opinions. This is perhaps the most insidious poison in modern life, more addictive than any substance, more destructive than any vice. Every time you check how many likes your post received, every time you modify your behavior to avoid judgment, every time you seek validation before making a decision, you're drinking this poison. Epictetus taught that we become enslaved to anything we cannot do without. Can you go a day without checking what others think of you? Can you make a decision without seeking approval? Can you face criticism without your sense of self crumbling? If not, you're not free, you're a puppet whose strings are pulled by everyone around you. The elimination must be quiet, because announcing "I don't care what people think anymore" is itself a plea for validation. It's saying, "Look at me not caring. Approve of my not seeking approval." Instead, you must begin the slow, private work of breaking this addiction. Stop checking your phone immediately after posting something. Make decisions without polling friends. Wear what you want without explanation. Start small. Tomorrow, make one choice entirely based on what you think is right, without seeking anyone's input or approval. Don't announce this choice, don't explain it, just do it. Feel the discomfort of not knowing what others think. That discomfort is withdrawal from your addiction, and like all withdrawal, it will pass if you don't feed the addiction. The paradox is that when you truly stop caring about others' opinions, you become more attractive, more respected, more influential. People are drawn to those who are internally validated because it's so rare. But this can't be your motivation, or you're still trapped in the same cycle. The freedom itself must be the reward. Delete social media apps from your phone without announcing a social media detox. Stop sharing your achievements immediately after they happen. Make important life decisions without committee approval. Let people be surprised by your changes rather than spectators to your process. Your transformation is not entertainment for others. 2. The comfort zone. You've decorated like a prison. The second elimination is more subtle: the comfort zone. You've spent years decorating to look like success. You've arranged your life to minimize discomfort, avoid challenge, and prevent failure. You've created routines that feel safe, relationships that don't challenge you, and work that doesn't stretch you. And you've convinced yourself this is wisdom, maturity, or self-care. It's not. It's a decorated prison. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort not because they were masochists, but because they understood that comfort makes us weak, fragile, and dependent. Seneca, one of Rome's wealthiest men, would regularly sleep on the floor, eat simple food, and wear rough clothes. Not as punishment, but as training. He was proving to himself that his happiness wasn't dependent on his comfort. Quietly begin introducing voluntary discomfort into your life. Take cold showers without telling anyone about the benefits of cold exposure. Fast occasionally without announcing your fasting schedule. Walk instead of driving without explaining your choice. Sleep on the floor once a week without making it a social media challenge. The key is silence. The moment you announce these practices, they become performance. You're no longer building resilience, you're building an image. The discomfort becomes about impressing others rather than strengthening yourself. And paradoxically, when you're doing it for show, you'll quit as soon as the audience loses interest. Your comfort zone isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, social. You avoid difficult conversations, challenging books, uncomfortable truths. You surround yourself with people who agree with you, content that confirms your biases, experiences that don't threaten your worldview. This intellectual comfort is even more dangerous than physical comfort because it stops growth entirely. Start reading books that challenge your beliefs. Engage with ideas that make you uncomfortable. Have conversations with people who disagree with you, but do it privately without announcing your intellectual journey. The moment you broadcast, "I'm challenging my beliefs," you create an identity around being open-minded rather than actually being open-minded. 3. The story you keep telling yourself about why you can't. The third elimination is the most private of all the story you tell yourself about why you can't. You can't start that business because you don't have capital. You can't get fit because you don't have time. You can't find love because you're damaged. You can't succeed because of your past. These stories feel like truth, but they're just well-rehearsed excuses that you've repeated so often they've become your identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." The stories you tell yourself create your reality more than any external circumstance, but changing these stories must happen in absolute privacy. Why? Because when you announce you're changing your story, people will either try to convince you the old story was true, or they'll hold you accountable to the new story before you've fully internalized it. Tonight, write down your limiting story, the one you've never told anyone completely, the one that plays in your head when you're alone. Write it all out, every excuse, every reason, every piece of evidence you've collected to support why you can't. Then burn it. Actually burn it. Not symbolically, but literally. Watch it turn to ash. Don't post about it, don't tell anyone, just let it go. Then write a new story. Not a fantasy, but a realistic narrative about someone with your exact circumstances who found a way. Because someone has. Someone with less talent, less money, less support, more trauma, more obstacles has achieved what you want. Their existence proves your story is false. Write their story as if it's yours, because it can be. Read this new story every morning, but tell no one. Don't share your new mindset or your transformed perspective. Just live it. Make decisions from this new story. Take actions from this new identity. Let people wonder what changed without ever explaining. Your transformation is not a TED Talk, it's a private revolution. 4 relationships that drain your energy but feed your need to be needed. The 4th elimination is painful relationships that drain your energy but feed your ego's need to be needed. You know exactly who these people are. The friend who only calls when they need something. The family member who creates drama you always have to solve. The colleague who dumps their problems on you daily. The ex who keeps you on standby. You maintain these relationships not from love, but from a toxic need to feel important. The Stoics understood that we become like those we spend time with. Epictetus warned that if you associate with someone covered in soot, you can't help but get dirty. But more insidiously, these draining relationships train you to find your worth in being someone's emotional crutch, their problem solver, their backup plan. The elimination must be quiet, because announcing "I'm cutting toxic people out of my life" creates drama, invites negotiation, and often strengthens the very bonds you're trying to break. These people will promise to change, guilt you for abandoning them, or rally others to pressure you back into your role. Instead, you must fade quietly, gradually becoming less available without explanation. Stop answering texts immediately. Let calls go to voicemail. Be busy when they need something. Not with anger or resentment, but with calm boundary setting. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your energy. You don't need permission to prioritize your well-being. You don't require approval to stop being someone's emotional dumping ground. But here's the harder truth: you must also examine why you needed to be needed. What void were you filling by being everyone's savior? What fear were you avoiding by staying busy with others' problems? The Stoics taught that everything we do serves some purpose for us, even if that purpose is dysfunctional. Until you address the need, you'll just find new people to drain you. 5. The mental rehearsal of conversations that will never happen. The fifth elimination might seem trivial, but it's stealing hours of your life, the mental rehearsal of conversations that will never happen. You lie in bed having imaginary arguments where you're devastatingly witty. You shower while delivering speeches that would change everyone's mind. You drive while having conversations with people who aren't there, saying everything you wish you'd said or might someday say. This mental rehearsal feels productive. You're preparing, practicing, processing, but you're actually dissipating energy that could be used for real action. You're satisfying your need for resolution without actually resolving anything. You're winning battles that exist only in your mind, while losing the real war for your attention and peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of presence, of keeping your mind where your body is. When you're mentally arguing with someone who isn't there, you're neither here nor there. You're in a phantom realm that drains real energy for imaginary victories. These mental conversations are addictive because you always win, always say the right thing, always come out on top. Starting today, catch yourself in these phantom conversations. Don't judge yourself, just notice. Then gently return to the present. What's actually happening right now? What can you actually do right now? If there's a real conversation that needs to happen, schedule it. If there's something that needs to be said, write it down. But stop the endless rehearsal. The silence around this elimination is crucial. If you tell people you're stopping mental rehearsals, you'll just rehearse that conversation too. You'll imagine explaining it, defending it, teaching others about it. The cycle continues. Instead, quietly redirect your mind each time you catch it wandering into phantom conversations. No announcement, no explanation, just gentle redirection. 6. The fantasy of the perfect moment to begin. The sixth elimination is the fantasy of the perfect moment to begin. You're waiting for Monday, for New Year's, for when you have more money, for when you're less stressed, for when the stars align and conditions are perfect. This fantasy is a sophisticated form of procrastination that feels like wisdom, but is actually cowardice. The Stoics understood that the perfect moment is always now. Not because now is perfect, but because now is all that exists. Marcus Aurelius, in the middle of plague and war, didn't wait for peace to practice philosophy. Epictetus didn't wait for freedom to begin teaching. Seneca didn't wait for less corruption in Rome to write about virtue. Quietly abandon the fantasy. Start the project today with what you have. Begin the practice now, imperfectly. Take the first step with insufficient information. But don't announce your beginning. Don't declare today everything changes. Real change happens in unremarkable moments. You start eating better on a random Tuesday afternoon. You begin exercising on a Thursday evening. You write the first page on a Sunday morning. No fanfare, no perfect conditions, no audience. Just quiet beginning in the middle of ordinary life. The perfect moment fantasy extends beyond just starting. It includes the perfect workout routine you'll follow, the perfect business plan you'll execute, the perfect relationship you'll have. These fantasies prevent you from doing good workouts, running decent businesses, having real relationships. Perfect is the enemy not just of good, but of anything at all. 7. The consumption addiction disguised as learning. The 7th elimination is particularly tricky for intelligent people, the consumption addiction disguised as learning. You read endless articles about productivity instead of being productive. You watch videos about fitness instead of exercising. You listen to podcasts about relationships instead of working on yours. You've become a professional student of life without ever actually living. This feels virtuous. You're learning, growing, preparing. But consumption without application is just sophisticated entertainment. The Stoics valued wisdom, but they defined wisdom as applied knowledge. Reading about courage while avoiding what scares you isn't wisdom, it's cowardice with a library card. Quietly implement a consumption fast. For every hour you spend consuming information, spend 2 hours applying it. Don't announce this ratio. Don't share your learning diet. Just quietly shift from consumption to creation, from learning to doing, from preparing to performing. Let your results be the only announcement of your change. The consumption addiction is particularly dangerous because it provides the illusion of progress. Your YouTube history shows hundreds of self-improvement videos. Your bookshelf displays dozens of success books. Your podcast app contains thousands of hours of advice. But what has actually changed in your life? What have you actually built? Who have you actually become? Stop using learning as procrastination. Stop hiding behind "I'm still researching." Stop believing that the next book, course, or video will contain the missing piece. You already know enough to begin. You already have enough information to change. What you lack isn't knowledge, but the courage to act on what you know. 8. The comparison game that no one ever wins. The 8th elimination is the comparison game that you play privately while publicly pretending you're above it. You scroll through social media measuring your life against others' highlight reels. You compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 30. You diminish your progress by focusing on how far ahead others seem, or you comfort yourself by finding people doing worse. Epictetus taught that you can't control what others have or achieve, only your own actions and responses. Every moment spent comparing is a moment stolen from your own journey. But this elimination must be absolutely private, because announcing "I don't compare myself to others" is itself a form of comparison. Look how evolved I am compared to those who still compare. Delete social media apps without announcement. Stop asking friends about mutual acquaintances' successes. Avoid reunion events that are just comparison festivals. But do this quietly, without explanation. When people share others' achievements to trigger your comparison reflex, simply say, "Good for them," and change the subject. The comparison game is rigged because you're comparing your inside to others' outside, your blooper reel to their highlight reel, your complete data set to their curated presentation. You know every failure, fear, and flaw in your life, but you only see what others choose to show. It's an unfair comparison that you'll always lose. But even accurate comparison is pointless. Someone will always be ahead of you in something. Someone will always be behind. So what? Your journey is yours alone. Your pace is determined by your circumstances, not others' progress. The only valid comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are today. 9. The busyness that masquerades as importance. The 9th elimination is the addiction to being busy, that you wear like a badge of honor. You fill every moment with activity, every silence with noise, every space with commitment. You've confused motion with progress, activity with achievement, busyness with importance. You can't eliminate busyness by announcing you're doing less. that just makes you busy talking about not being busy. Seneca wrote, "Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and seeks the old." Your busyness is an addiction to newness, to stimulation, to the feeling of importance that comes from having a full calendar. But most of what fills your time doesn't move you toward what matters. Quietly begin saying no without explanation. I can't make it. Period. That doesn't work for me. Full stop. I'm not available. No elaboration. Don't explain that you're simplifying your life or focusing on what matters. Just be unavailable for what doesn't serve your purpose. Create empty space in your calendar and protect it fiercely. But don't label it as me time or thinking time or anything else. Just block it out and tell no one. In that space, do nothing. Actually nothing. Sit and think. Walk without podcasts. Exist without producing or consuming. This is where clarity comes from, but only if you don't turn it into another thing to be busy about. The busyness addiction is hard to break because our culture rewards it. People respect busy. They admire exhaustion. They celebrate burnout as dedication, but quietly opt out of this insane competition. Let others win the busy Olympics, while you quietly build something meaningful in the space you've created. Tend the identity that's become your prison. The 10th and final elimination is the hardest: the identity you've built that's become your prison. You've spent years becoming someone: the responsible one, the funny one, the successful one, the troubled one, the smart one, the creative one. This identity feels like who you are, but it's just who you've been, and it's keeping you from who you could become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." The identity you're clinging to is preventing your natural evolution. But you can't announce you're changing your identity that just creates a new identity of someone who changes identities. The change must be so quiet that even you barely notice it happening. Start making choices that your current identity wouldn't make. If you're the responsible one, be occasionally irresponsible without guilt. If you're the funny one, be serious without apology. If you're the successful one, fail at something without shame. Don't announce these experiments. Don't explain the changes. Just quietly expand beyond the borders of who you've been. The identity prison is comfortable because it's predictable. You know who you are. Others know who you are. Everyone knows their role. But this comfort is death to growth. You can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you've been. The butterfly must let go of being a caterpillar. This doesn't mean becoming a completely different person overnight. It means quietly loosening the grip of labels, gently expanding beyond categories, slowly allowing yourself to be paradoxical, contradictory, evolving. You contain multitudes, but your identity has been forcing you to be singular. The silent revolution. These 10 eliminations form a silent revolution in your life. Silent because announcement invites resistance. Revolutionary because eliminating these poisons transforms everything. You're not adding new habits or acquiring new things. You're removing what doesn't serve you, and in that space, your true nature can finally emerge. The Stoics understood that subtraction is often more powerful than addition. We don't need more strategies, more information, more connections. We need less poison, less distraction, less pretense. But this elimination must be private, personal, and patient. You're not performing transformation, you're actually transforming. Don't make a list of these eliminations and post it on your wall. Don't share this message with friends saying, "We should do this together." Don't turn this into another thing to consume, discuss, and eventually abandon. Instead, pick one poison and quietly stop drinking it. Then another. Then another. Let people wonder what's different about you. Let them ask what's changed. Smile and deflect. Your transformation is not content for others' consumption. It's not a story for their entertainment. It's not a journey they need to follow. It's your private revolution, happening in silence, changing everything without announcement. Remember what Epictetus taught: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This applies to everything: emotional needs, social validation, mental stimulation, identity props. The elimination of wants is the acquisition of freedom. But this must be discovered in private, or it becomes just another want. The want to be seen as someone who has few wants. Conclusion: the power of private transformation. 6 months from now, you could be unrecognizable to yourself. Not because you've announced changes, started programs, or joined movements, but because you've quietly eliminated what was poisoning you. You've stopped feeding the addictions that were draining your energy. You've released the attachments that were limiting your growth. This private transformation is available to you right now. Not tomorrow when conditions are better. Not Monday when the week starts fresh. Not January when everyone else is changing. Right now, in this moment, you can begin the quiet elimination of one thing that's poisoning your potential. But remember, tell no one. Don't share your plans. Don't announce your progress. Don't seek accountability partners. The announcement itself becomes a poison, a performance, a pressure that corrupts the purity of change. Your silence protects your transformation from the contamination of external validation and expectation. The Stoics lived this way, changing privately, growing quietly, transforming without fanfare. Their results spoke louder than any announcement could. Their lives became their message. Their character was their credential. You have the same opportunity, the same choice, the same power. What will you quietly eliminate first? Don't tell me, don't tell anyone. Just begin in silence, in private, in power. The revolution has already started. It started the moment you recognized these poisons in your life. Now comes the quiet work of elimination. No drama, no declaration, no documentation. Just the steady, private work of removing what doesn't serve you and making space for what does. Your future self is waiting on the other side of these eliminations. Not a perfect self, but a freer self. Not a complete self, but a more authentic self. Not a public self, but a private self with public impact. The journey between here and there is walked in silence, one elimination at a time. Begin now. Begin quietly. Begin alone. The world will notice the results soon enough.